G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the EZA for the Super Saiyan EZA Goku. So the new Profound Will and Power Goku. Pretty cool EZA for this unit. One of those units that maybe wasn't so usable before in the current meta, but is an interesting unit. I'm not going to say he's a fantastic unit, but he's definitely an interesting unit. A 70% Android Cell Saga category lead, which is obviously very cool. And then of course he raises attack and defense for one turn on his super attack and has a medium chance, which is 30% of stunning the enemy. So not too bad, pretty straightforward. Then in terms of passive, he has attack and defense of 59%. Plus an additional attack and defense of 59% when he is firing off a super attack. He also has attack and defense of 20% up to 59% and chance of performing a critical hit up 7% within each attack within a turn within each attack performed. He also has a high chance of evading the enemy's attack as the first attacker in the turn, and also has the ability to reduce damage from normal attacks by 89% in the second or third slot. A pretty interesting unit from that perspective. The reason being is so basically he works like this. Essentially, Goku should always be in the second or third slot unless there is no enemy attacking before the first slot attacks. If that is the situation, then Goku can go into the first slot. It's not too bad for him. It's pretty straightforward then, and it's pretty good for him. But that's about it. So if there is attacks going to the first slot, then it's highly suggested that you put Goku into the second and third slot. His countering will enable him to gain additional attack and defense. He takes a massive reduction of damage from normal attacks, and with the building of his crit, he'll do some decent damage. In terms of links, he's got Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, Kamehameha, Experienced Fighters, Super Saiyan, Shocking Speed, and Sharing the Limit. Shocking Speed and Sharing the Limit aren't the easiest key links to get, I want to say. They're not terrible, but they're not really the easiest key links. The rest is kind of like stock standard in terms of like link sets for Goku units. I mean, Kamehameha, Super Saiyan, Saiyan Lineage, Saiyan Warrior Race, very common links. And then in terms of categories, he's on Goku's Family, Kamehameha, Pure Saiyans, Android Cell Saga, Turtle School, Bond of Friendship, and Accelerated Battle. I think for the most part, he's going to be best on a Goku's Family or a Super Saiyan team. He definitely has a slight issue with links, but for the, a lot of Cell Saga free-to-play units have Shattering the Limit, so he's okay once linked up with them. But he's definitely a unit that's kind of more suited to linking up, with other, Goku units, Goku Super Saiyan units, things like that. In terms of damage output, he can output some pretty decent damage, but I think Goku's viability as a unit is really in his variability in how to use him. I think, the fact that if no one is attacking in the first slot or before the first slot attacks, the fact that he can, highly evade enemies' attacks is very helpful. I think the countering is also very helpful, especially as a floating unit in tough events like the Gods of Destruction event or in certain ESBR and Pure Saiyan stages. His ability to reduce damage by that much means that he's going to have a lot of viability as a floating unit. Now, that's cool and that's really great for him, but I think that makes him a bit of a stranger unit to utilize. It's like a lot of people want to utilize him, a lot of people want to use units all the time, but him and Android 18 are definitely units that are designed to be used in certain situations, and they will thrive in those situations, and that is where they thrive. So you can see here 87,000 defense. That's really not bad at all, considering he will fire a super attack, raises defense again by 20% because of that attack. Then he will also raise his defense once more if he gets counters. So and then he raises his attack and defense on his super. So overall, he's really kind of like able to generate quite a bit of increases to his defense, and with an 89% reduction on damage from normals, you don't really need that higher defense. The defense will help with super attacks, but Goku's gonna do pretty well against normal attacks even without raising his defense. 89% is a pretty ridiculous, sorry, 59%. Oh, I keep saying 89%. 59% is a pretty ridiculous amount, which is, you know, fantastic. I mean, it's really cool to have like a free-to-play counter unit, because most counter units are, you know, like these EZA or DFE, like Vegito units and things like that. So it's really cool to have like this free-to-play counter unit that's kind of viable on a lot of teams, has a lot of options. And yeah, for the most part, it's just a pretty interesting unit. Like, he just has some interesting like viability, interesting uses, and he's just straight up like unique kind of unit, I think, which is, you know, pretty interesting overall. So in this situation, yeah, we've got pretty solid situation for him. He's obviously got the support from the Super Saiyan Goku, which, you know, does help him quite a bit. And yeah, he just looks really solid. I don't want to say he's a spectacular free-to-play unit, but he's definitely a solid and interesting unit. I think like 2.2 million is good attack stat. Obviously it is support and everything on this rotation, but 2.2 million, then following it up with another attack, then he can still like tank decently against normals. He's raised his defense and his attack and defense quite a bit. I mean, here he took no damage from that super attack. So yeah, it's just, I think he's a very interesting unit. I think he could be so viable on some teams as a floating unit, and I think he's also a kind of unit that, if used incorrectly, is just not really gonna like be that great. But like, an important thing to take note is just the first attacker part of his passive. So as I've explained a couple times, the first attacker meaning is essentially that if an enemy unit is attacking before him, if he is in the first slot and an enemy unit is attacking him before he attacks, then his passive will not kick in. So that is the only downside, really. I don't really like that kind of mechanic that they put in. I do not like the first attacker premise. One, I think it's just confusing. It is misleading to players, because a lot of players will assume it means first attacker being my first attacker, like the unit in the first slot. But it also just like diminishes the viability of the unit. Like, Goku could have been so really cool, like really cool, if it was like he evades or you can elect him to counter. And I think that would have been something really cool, especially since Pure Saiyans is dying for evasion for its Pure Saiyans ESBR stage. So yeah, that would have been something pretty righteous. But his stunning effect, his everything else about him is really cool, really unique. I like units that change up depending on the slot. I just think it's so unique, and it's something that can really help them out. In terms of links, we obviously saw a couple decent linking partners there. Realistically, you're gonna need Shocking Speed or Shattering the Limit to kind of have like any chance of making him a viable unit. The rest, Saiyan Lineage can be a decent key link, but overall, for the most part, unless you link level it, it's only one key. So you're really gonna probably need Shocking Speed or Shattering the Limit to really kind of get some good results out of this Goku. Because he does need to super, he does need to be able to get his stun off. A really cool pairing partner for him is this Xeno Goku. Not only does he get the support buff from him, but they're both stun. And the other Goku greatly raises defense, so he can possibly become a tank very soon, allowing this, you know, Yardrat Goku to really thrive in the second slot, which I think is super cool, and a nice like kind of synergy between the two of them. Also, considering that Goku has Xeno next to him, he actually is a super viable linking partner. But yeah, I just think overall it's pretty interesting, and I think he's a cool unit, and I think he's got something different about him. I like these kind of units. Like, even though they may not be, you know, as simplistic as a unit that's just exceptionally good in one way. He's kind of like the antithesis of Android 18, whereas Android 18 is a fantastic floating support for the androids category. Goku's a weirder unit. Goku could be used on like almost any team just as like a floater. You can just be like, oh I need to have Goku in my team, damn, I'm gonna stick him as a floater. I need a unit that can take some normal attacks, stick him as a floater. And I think that's really cool. But I think also at the same time, you know, because of that notion, because of that, he can be a little bit difficult for players to kind of wrap their head around and utilize correctly. So he's a kind of unit that we'll probably take a look at in multiple content. We'll take a look at them in ESPR. We'll take a look at them in something like Gods of Destruction event, and we'll see how he goes. That's it from me, guys. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.